Okay, now that we've looked at the golf club and the fact that it is broken down into three main components, each one of those components has the different characteristics. Each one of those characteristics affects the way you hit your golf shots. We'll look now at firstly the lie angle of the golf club. This ultimately is the key to a golf club. If the lie angle doesn't suit you, you really do have to manipulate your golf club to be able to hit a golf shot. Basically, when you're hitting a golf shot, the sole of the club should be sitting perfectly flat on the ground when you hit a shot. But most golfers are using clubs that don't suit them. They're hitting shots where either the toe of the club is hitting the ground first or the heel of the club hitting the ground first. If the club's not soling itself perfectly flat on the ground, the bottom line is you have to manipulate the golf club to be able to hit the shots towards the target and achieve the perfect ball flight for you. I'll show you a little gadget I've got here that gives you a really good visual as to how lie angle does affect the ball flight. Okay, so using the Henry Griffiths fitting system, we use a lie board to find out whether a student's golf clubs do suit them as far as this lie angle is concerned. Hitting golf shots off this lie board, we can get an idea by the marks that are on the sole of the club. We can get an idea, or not an idea, we can get a definitive idea as to whether their golf clubs do suit them at all. Then finding out whether if they don't suit them, we can then do some testing with the HG clubs and pinpoint exactly how much the lie angles need to be altered to suit a particular student. This club here gives you a good visual as to how this lie angle does affect the golf club's ball flight. Mainly the way it affects the directional control. We've got this line in the middle here. That line gives you an indication of the intended line of flight. This line here gives you an indication of the squarely angled club face. Now you can see if this golf club is soled perfectly flat on the ground at the starting point, you can see that the ball flight is intended, or the directional ball flight is intended to go straight. But as soon as you come into the impact zone like this, where it's heel deep, the toe is off the ground, you can see that the ball flight is affected to go to the left of the target. Alternatively, if you come in toe deep, the ball is influenced to go to the right of the target. For example, if you're coming in toe deep, over a little period of time, you'll start to make compensations. Obviously, you don't want the ball to go to the right of the target, so you'll make compensations, whether they are subconscious or not. Might be something as simple as closing the club face to get the ball back to the target, or you might change the whole path of your swing to get the ball back to the target. So the bottom line is you have to manipulate your golf club to be able to hit the shot. However, if the club is soled perfectly flat on the ground at impact, the ball's influenced to go straight, you're then rewarded for swinging the golf club along the right line, no need to manipulate. So that really gives you a good visual as to the most important part of a golf club's design, and that is the lie angle of the golf club. Your lie angle only has to be out by 1 or 2 or 3 degrees, or obviously the more degrees it's out, the worse for you. But for example, if your golf club is 1 degree out, that will influence the ball to go around about 4 to 5 meters to the right of the target if the club is coming in toe deep. That's with a 5-iron. So if your golf club, like some golfers, is as much as 5 degrees out, that's influencing you to hit the ball, literally 20 meters to the right of the target. Some big need for some compensations. So again, that's a real good visual to give you a good idea as to a big important aspect of a golf club's design. Okay, so now you've seen with the lie angle that does affect the ball flight. The shaft also, probably an important part of a shaft is the kick point in the shaft. Some shafts again do their bending down the bottom part of the shaft, others do their bending up the top part of the shaft. this has a pretty significant impact on the ball flight that you get. For example, somebody that's using a shaft with a low kick point will be influenced to hit the ball higher in the air, and often with a student, when I get them for the first time, they might be hitting the ball quite high in the air. They tell me that they're not happy with the fact that they're hitting the ball high. They want to hit the ball lower, but they're actually using shafts that have a low kick point, so they're using a shaft that doesn't suit them. So the first thing we can do before even changing anything with their swing is get them using a club that does suit them with the right bend point. Alternatively, the shaft having a high kick point will influence you to hit a lower ball flight. So that's just one aspect of the shaft that does influence the ball flight. Now the grip. The grip of the club can influence how you swing the club. For example, a grip that's too thin for you will influence you to have overactive hands throughout the swing, and a grip that's too thick for you will influence you to sort of push and prod the club. It won't influence you to release the club correctly through the shot. So we've had the head with the lie angle. That's unequivocal. You can see how that affects the directional control. You've got the shaft bend points that influence the height that you hit the shot, and then you've got something like the grip that influences how your hands work throughout the shot. So just imagine if you were using a golf club that in those aspects suited you, plus every other componentry characteristic, if they suited you also, just imagine how much easier the game would be. The bottom line is you're rewarded then for doing a good golf swing, for putting a good swing on the ball. You are rewarded, instead of in the past being unrewarded for a good swing. You have to manipulate and contrive a golf shot to be able to at least hit something half decent. So that really gives you a good insight into why you have to use fitted golf clubs.